What? Am I really doing this? Am I really doing a video? Feels like it's been so long. We're doing it about Dennis the Menace in Hawaii. It's one of the best-selling comic books of all time. Let's read the back. Dennis's best-selling comic book, Trip to Hawaii, is back in print. One of the most delightful and best-selling comic books of all time is Dennis in Hawaii. This is pretty interesting. I first heard about this on the Cartoonist Kayfabe channel. Ed Piscor, Jim Rugg. If you guys haven't followed them, they talk about a lot of cool stuff, and I found out about, been introduced to a lot of things from them. So why are we looking at this? Basically because I love cartooning. One of the things that I sort of dislike about a lot of the modern comic book industry, especially as it's represented in this crowd-funded model, is that there's a lot of action-heavy stuff and realistic, quote-unquote, trying to draw things, or they're really influenced by anime and manga, which is fine. That's okay. But this sort of classic American style of cartooning has really gone away. We don't see a lot of these simple figures with a lot of action and storytelling and really good images. So like this one, I mean, that's pretty impressive of a drawing, that you don't think that these two images are in a different, you know, they don't seem different. They seem like this character exists here. And that's a good example of how strong this cartooning is. Then you look over here, and you've got some pretty solid action, like devastatingly so. Like, Dennis really is a menace here, and his arms swinging around. Of course, you have the lines to indicate that, but also his motion of how he's doing it, sort of like a golf swing. You know, he's curved this way, his arms curving over this way, and then that plane is sailing down, or flying down, rather, the counter here, and you see everybody is just absolutely wrecked by it. Things flying everywhere. This man shielding his face, this woman gasping in horror. This guy's like, are you? Wow. Holy cow. This guy, oh no. And that's solid, that's strong. And often we see just characters standing around without much life to them. Look at this. Here we just have in silhouette. You've got this guy kind of bookish. He's hunched over from having to type in, you know, and do all this work at this counter. And then here's Dennis's dad. He got some personality to the way he's standing. And then Dennis, of course, standing on some luggage. It really is, it shows a lot of mastery in order to be able to do that with just this posing of the characters in silhouette. Because if we compare this to something today where you have characters standing around and they're often they'll be posed, but there's not much thought. A lot of times, I think there's not a lot of thought given to what their stance means. These characters that you're developing, they ought to be acting, right? They're the actors in the play, the movie that you're creating here, the story that you're creating. And you have to think about, what does somebody look like if they're at a counter? They're not just standing ramrod straight. They, you know, often in comic books, because of the way that they've gone salacious, or people want to see really attractive women, they'll be standing around in awkward poses and not lifelike or realistic, or no sense of who they are as a character. I can think of a number of comics where that's the case. They're just meant to look pretty and not real. And you get in cartooning, you get those basics on a fundamental level, right? So you get strong posing. You hear this one's not so great. I mean, kind of ramrod straight, but she is, you know, she's, maybe that's the intention, right? She's giving this the sort of pre-flight talk, and she's acting very official, so she's more straight in her, you know, nice posture. maybe I judge too harshly. Then we have gimmicks and fun and gags and all of this stuff. And then, of course, more of these beautiful landscapes. As we see the San Francisco area here, the Golden Gate Bridge. And I think you see a lot of quality here in terms of what they do with simple lines, simple gestures, and often people want to go in there want it to be too rendered. So let's look at this page, for instance. You have some nice backgrounds here, simple. You've got story moments, gags, all of that stuff. And then here we've got where they can actually take a little bit of time, go in and give it a roof with this detail here and these bricks and everything. And it gives a sense of like, yes, they're in Hawaii, they're at a resort. There is this beauty to these scenes. And it doesn't need to be in every page or every panel. But the craft in the simple panels allows, you know, by doing less there, more with less, you're then able to do things like this, and it doesn't matter so much in these other panels. And I think that's what people are missing. They're looking for, how can I do something fast, or how can I do it really detailed and taking a really long time, and oh, look at this, they did all these marks and everything. But this is just as good. This is just as much a story, sometimes better than what you get in something else. And I think that's what people should strive for. Of course, if they want to draw a highly detailed comic, or they want to do that, that's their style or whatever, that's fine. But they need to realize that they're not going to be able to get those things out in a timely manner. And the reason why these comics came out so quickly is because these people were able to do things simply, but profound and really amazing. I mean, look at this. Look at all these characters in here. And you get more detail and less as you go back. But then here, the eye is very readable. The way that the dialogue and then how the characters are set up, you can still see Dennis and his family here. And then you get to the back and they're blacked in. It's very good cartooning here, menacing sort of thing here with this muscle-bound guy, and the dad's like, "Oh, what, Dennis?" Just a lot of examples. I would recommend checking this out if you have not read this before. These children's comics, I think, the really good ones, they hold up, and they show they kind of remind me of the sadness that comics really have stopped being for children from the old classic publishers. And instead you have Scholastic and things like that are doing things, and they're marketing towards children in a different way, but you don't see these comedy-based things selling very well. And it's kind of sad, because I'm sure they would if they were able to be gotten in children's hands. Take a look at the back of this book. I'd recommend getting this. There's a lot of interviews with guys that created it and about it, and pretty fascinating. They went on a trip to Hawaii in order to research and draw it, and that's kind of cool. They got to go to Hawaii and the name of researching their comic. There's also pages here where we can see some sketches and fun stuff. So if you guys haven't read this, I'd recommend checking it out. Definitely worth the money. Yeah. Alrighty. Bye-bye.